Hey everyone, Derek Lone here from the Model Schools team. I just want to take a minute before we get started with Allison to kind of give you an update on the rest of the sessions that we have coming up this week. For those of you that joined us for Chris's webinar at the beginning of the day, he showed you some of the dates that were coming up, and I'm just going to go through them quickly, and then I'm going to turn everything over to Allison. So, first up, we have tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Google Sites. So for those of you that are interested in learning about creating, your own websites through the Google Suite, you will have the ability to sit in through that webinar. We have how to create interactive Google Slides in a choose your own adventure format. So think of it as the old choose your own adventure books and how to structure your PowerPoint presentations to do things like that. 11 a.m. on Friday, we have using Flippity.net, which is, I believe, a plugin for Google Sheets that will allow you to convert Google Sheets into all sorts of things, including flashcards and a lot of study material pieces. And then finally, Friday afternoon at 2 p.m., we have a Nearpod webinar coming up hosted by Valerie Wright. And just a couple other housekeeping things. If you haven't joined us before in a chat, just pop your name in and say hello so we have you to take attendance and we can give you credit for today's webinar. And with that, I am going to turn it over to Allison so we can talk about Google Earth.
Hi everyone. Today I really want to show you how to use Google Earth projects. So this way we can create our own basically Google Earth tours for students to participate in, or for them to even create themselves. So many of you have already heard about Google Earth. It's been around for quite some time now. And before, it used to be either an iPad app or a software download to your computer, but now it's completely web-based. So today, you can actually even create your own tours without even using that software. All you need to do is go to earth.google.com and you will be able to create your own projects. So let me just show you a quick example here. So what I have in front of you is a Google map, basically, of what I created for one of our classes that was researching a little bit about the Iditarod. So I took today's or this year's trail, mapped it into Google Maps here or in Google Earth, and basically added a whole bunch of different multimedia tools in order for the students to get more information out of it. So I'm just going to kind of show you and walk you through here. So you'll see on my left-hand side of my screen, this is basically my little overview about what my map is that I've created, along with each of my little points that I have plotted. So if I were to click on one of these points here, it's going to zoom in on here. So just like we had before, when we use Google Earth, and what all the kids love is that street view. We are able to see everything right as if we were there. So I get this nice little card that I've created. I put in information about this location, as well as additional pictures that I found online that go along with it. Just like the street view, I can now click around and access everything just basically on this point. I do have the ability to now go to my next location, and I can see that it's flying, using that whole technique that every child loves about Google Earth, and be able to go to each individual plot or area that I have plotted on my graph. And you can still use those arrows to continue on down the area or the road that you are utilizing. So there we go, nice view of being right on the trail, which is amazing. So this is something quick and easy that you can add in, and I'm going to show you how to create your own very own map. So as I had mentioned before, we are going to go to earth.google.com. You can see right up here in my URL bar. And what you need to make sure that you go to is on this left navigation here, you will notice that there is these little tool icons here. So we want to make sure that we are selecting this project icon. You'll notice when you hover over the icon, it's like the little bubble, the location marker with a little map underneath. It does say project, so we know exactly where we're going to be. Anything that you have created will show up right here for you to view. This way you can easily edit, access it, and share. So in order to get started, we are going to create our first project. So we are going to select this new project button, And we are going to select Create Project in Google Drive. You'll see that there are other options available to you. What's wonderful about this Google Earth Projects is that it automatically saves to your Google Drive. Just like with any other Google document, PowerPoint presentation, everything saves automatically, which I love. So not only can you access it here, you can go to your Google Drive, organize it, find it where you need to, or however you need to utilize it for that point. Google does allow you to upload any other formats that you may have used. Possibly if you have used Google My Maps, you can even import a Google My Map you've created into Google Earth to get you started, as well as if you're sharing from somewhere else and want to edit and adapt what someone else has created. So we are going to start fresh and go create project in Google Drive. You'll see I have this untitled project. So all I'm going to do is click that box here, and now I'm going to give it a title. So today we are going to be visiting Washington, D.C. And we are going to take a wonderful tour and to make sure that we are recommending specific places for first-time visitors. So I'm going to make sure that I put that in my description. And just to let you know, it is definitely optional to use this. But it always is great to have a nice little description in there so that this way your viewers know exactly what you are intending this map to be used for. So from here, you'll see that I have this new feature button. So what I would like to do is click on that, and it says search to add place. So here we're going to go to the White House. So I can type in White House, or if it's come up before in my search, I can click. And you'll notice it starts to show you exactly where it is. You're gonna fly, so take your Dramamine, people, if you get a little seasick along the way. So here we are right at the White House, and what's nice is I can now click Add to My Project. So if I click this Add to My Project, what's going to happen is I can now that we select that project that we're actually using. So once I'm done, I can hit Save. And you'll see it now shows up here on my left-hand side. Now I could do a little bit more with this. So if I want to add in more details and more information, let's say I don't like exactly what's pulled here from Wikipedia, I can now add in my own content. So to do that, I can go over here to my left-hand navigation, hover over the White House title, and then click on this Edit Feature button. What happens now is that I have the ability to add in more detailed information. So I did not want that Wikipedia information, so I'm going to just hit replace. And you'll notice that I now have the ability to add in additional pictures and add in my own content. So in here, what I would like to do is add some information that I found out about the White House. So I can click on my camera, and you'll notice that it comes up where we can now search Google, we can add in YouTube, we can add in photos from our drive, we can even add it by URL. So that same select image or video that we've seen before throughout other Google products is the same here for you to access. So I'm just gonna go to Google image search, and I'm going to type in White House. And just remember, these are all recommended copyright-free images for us to use. So I select my image and hit select, and it will start to populate. Now let's say I want to add in some of my own information. So there are some things I found out about when researching Washington, D.C., but I don't know if you're aware of this, but 2 of our presidents actually had pet alligators in the White House. So I want to add that here. So I'm going to write down Herbert Hoover and John Quincy Adams. Alligators of White House. So I can add that information in. Now below here, you'll see that you have a few different options that you can use. You saw that card that came up with the Wikipedia. I can change what that looks like if I want it smaller or if I want it larger. It's personal preference. Play around with the settings that you'd like. You also have the ability to change that icon. So right here, you'll see it for the White House, it automatically defaulted to yellow. Hey, this is a White House. Let's make it white. But what I love about color coding, as with anything, you can have your students, or even for yourself, if you're trying to delineate between different types of checkpoints along your map, you can add that information in here. So like if I want to do restaurants in yellow, if I wanted to do historical places in white, so forth and so on. This way it's easier to spot if you have multiple places on your map. You can also change the icon that's represented. So once again, going back, if you're doing some restaurants, you can add in a little food icon. We could do stars, the whole 9 yards. So you can select what you'd like to use, and it's completely your personal preference. I would suggest to students, get the content on there first, then play with that stuff later on. So once we have everything here, we're good to go. You'll also notice that we do have the ability to select how we want people to view this. So the minute they click on our White House link here to go to that point, we can have this bird's eye view, or we can have that street view that we've had before. So for example, we all love this little guy. He comes in, you can click and drag him exactly where you want him for street view, or for a more close-up look of wherever you are. So if I take my little guy here and I click and drag him anywhere that I see these blue dots or lines, that's where I can bring him. So if I want to bring him right up close and personal, I can bring him there. And now we have that nice shot of that White House view. So versus that whole bird's eye view, we're right up close and personal. So if I want this to be my view, I can now capture this view. And this will now be that item or that picture that everyone sees when they first get there. So to get out of here, I'm just going to hit that back button. And remember, everything's saved. So I can still click on it. Here's my icon, so I can make sure I see what's on here, and to check out all my other pictures that I have put on. So we can always double check along the way. Another thing that I want to show you is that we can add even more items. So besides just this point, we're going to take another tour. We're going to go back to our new feature, go to search to add place, and I am going to go to the Washington Monument. So we could type it in, it's going to fly us there again. And once again, as I showed you before, we have this add to project. So we can take the card that's already here. If we like it, we want to use that information, we can select that. But if you don't want to use it, you can edit any kind that's on here. So I'm going to click add to project and make sure I select that project. And instead of hitting save this time, I'm just going to click edit place, because this will automatically bring me to that editing options on here. Rather than saving it and going to the side and clicking the pencil. So there's two different ways in which you can edit any plots that you point. So we are going to replace this, and let's get fancy and add a YouTube video. So I'm going to click that same icon as before for the picture, and this time I'm going to add in a video about the Washington Monument. So I love this What's Inside Washington Monument. You can add in the YouTube URL. So if you already have something saved somewhere else or bookmarked, you can add that in, or you can select here right from the YouTube video search. I will recommend that if you're not quite certain what the URL is, but you remember the title, use the title as that keyword search in order to find it. So I'm just going to hit select, and you can see it now populates in here for me to view. I can add in any sort of other information that I'd like on here if I wanted to. Once I'm done, I just hit that back button, and you can see it now shows up. So if I click on here, there's my YouTube video. Just move myself out of the way here, and we can listen to it play. So this way you can make sure you like what's there. And this one's nice because it is a 180, so we get a little bit, not quite 360 view. But that's a great way in order for you to preview everything before you even add it in. Okay, so that is our second item that we've added to our list here. Now you'll notice that you do have a few other options besides the search to add place. I always find that search to add place a lot easier, but you can also add place mark, meaning that if you find a location on here that doesn't per se have a specific landmark or an icon to add, you can always add place mark and put it in the point where you would like it. But let's take a look and find some other places. So let's say I want to take a look for the reflecting pool. This is something that I found some unique information about. A great way to incorporate some math skills on top of here. So right now, I don't want this card. I want to put in some information about the length of this reflecting pool. So I'm going to just X out of this right here. And I'm going to make sure I'm in my projects. And what we are going to do, whoopsies. Yep, I'm having some trouble. If I click and drag, I can move exactly to my location and zoom in, pinching and zooming. But I want to show the distance here for people to see. So in our adding a new feature, you'll see there's a draw line or shape. So what I'm going to do is draw a line to indicate the length of this reflecting pool. So if I click in one area, I'm going to find that point and then move my mouse or my cursor to the next plot and click again. You'll see it creates that line. And now I want to hit return because this will now save that line. So here I'm going to type in reflecting pool and I want to put in more information about that reflecting pool. So I can now go in and I can type in that, did you know it is 2,029 feet long? We can add that information in. We can add our pictures, videos. We can even add in some color if we need to, the whole 9 yards. Once we're done, we just hit our back arrow and you'll see it shows up here. Now, besides just lines, you can make shapes. So for example, I know we have like the National Mall over here. So if I wanted to showcase that whole mall area, I could actually create a square. Once again, I click to plot my point and click for each section. So if I'm trying to show an area here, I can do that, okay? If you don't want to use this, you don't like it, you just X right out of it and it goes right away. So you're all set there. So some other things that I know that you can add in is that we can add in a full screen slide. So kind of think of a very simplistic Google slide that you can add in. I would like to kind of use this for my resources area. So if I go to new features, you'll see that I have this full screen slide. This doesn't have you go right into Google Earth. This is more for like having quick text in between pausing points, basically, or some of your little points that you have marked on the map. So I'm going to select full screen slide, and you'll see I could give it a title. So I'm just going to title this sources, and then I can start to add in my text. So for example, I got some information from the trolley tours. So I'm going to write that in here, trolley tours. And I want to hyperlink out to that site. So I'm going to highlight to select it, hit this add link button, and then I can just paste it right in and press OK. So I can keep doing this for any of the resources or the websites that I've used to help curate my information. The background color you can set either as an image or you can just do a nice little color. It's completely up to you as to what you'd like to use. Once you're done, you can just hit that back arrow and you're brought directly back. So you'll see here's our sources. So if I click on it, I'll be able to view. There's really not too much glam to this whatsoever. Very simple, basic editor, but you can go right back in, click the little pencil to edit, and you're brought right back in. So if I saw Trolley Tours was a little too small, I can now go in and give it a little bit of a bigger feel on here. So I can make the text a little bit larger and then go to preview it to see what it looks like. See, there we go. Perfect ending for your map here. So it's always nice, put in a little sources at the end. So this way, if you're gathering information from other places, it's all in one nice complete spot. So once you're all done with your Google tour here or your Google Earth project, you can share it. So you'll see here up at the top, we do have this share project item. So just like any of your other Google Suite products, like your docs, your slides, we do have the ability to share and edit in the same fashion. So if I wanted to share this with someone and have them collaborate with me, I can certainly add their Google account here and give them those editing rights. And if I would like to share it, you'll see that there's this Get Shareable link. You can then copy your link and share it out. One thing that I would make sure, always check your share settings. So depending upon how you are having your students publish this or viewing it, you may want to determine how or like what setting you'd like to use instead. So if you're trying to keep it within district, not really sharing it globally, make sure you have it so that anyone within your district can view it. But always make sure that view is available because you don't want anyone editing your work. So that will be your link that you can then share in Google Classroom in order for people to view or to even put on a website to link people to. So that's a quick, easy way for you to share. Once you're done, you just hit done and all changes have been made. You do also have the ability to export this as a KML file. By doing this, it allows for others to take your file and to then upload it into their own Google Earth project in order to replicate or to add on more information. So if you're trying to use this as a template per se, you want to have certain spots already mapped for your kids, and then they just need to add in their own details. You can do this as an export as a KML, have them import it into their Google Earth project, and you're all done. You also have the ability, once you're in here, to delete it. So if you start working on something, you're not liking what it looks like, just hit that delete button and all will be gone. If you are presenting right away, even though you're in your projects, you could just hit present, and this gives you more of that full house view in order to see everything. So it makes it a little bit easier if you're trying to give that presentation to your classmates. Having everything up here, you'll notice that our table of contents goes down to the bottom, so we can either click on each point here or use the arrows down at the bottom to continue on in our movement. So that is your basic overview of Google Earth projects. So I hope you enjoyed this. Please let me know if you have any further questions, comments, concerns. I am here to help you. My name's Allison Blackwell, and thank you for watching.
Thanks, Allison. We just want to take a minute and let everybody know that we're still going to be on chat for a little while. So if you have any questions or if you still need to take attendance, please feel free to ask them in the chat bar, and we will see you next time.